Hey there, Plow and Pantry peeps. Today I'm in the kitchen trying a new to me canning recipe. Caveat here, even though it's early September when I'm uploading this, I did this during August. So I will be mentioning these jars again in a future video when I do my final Every Bit Counts challenge video. I'm just a little bit behind on editing and uploading. This recipe is for Mexican pickled pintos, corn, and poblano peppers. I found it in a Better Homes and Gardens book when I was at a used bookstore last year. Anybody else a used bookstore lover? Fanatic? This was put out in the 1980s and it isn't in print anymore, but you can still get it on Amazon, so I will link it for you. And you might be able to find it on something like Thrift Books or Abe Books or something too. It has a lot of good recipes I want to try. I want to say though that because it's from the 80s and canning rules have been updated since then, you have to keep a good understanding of safe canning practices in mind when you look at recipes in this book. This one seems fine to me. It does have beans and peppers and corn, all of which are usually pressure canned, but in this case they are pickled and with a high ratio of vinegar in that pickling brine. And I was able to find each of those ingredients in the National Center for Home Food Preservation website in water bathed, which is what this recipe is, in various pickles and salsa recipes and things like that. So I felt comfortable making this recipe, but you need to do your own research and do what feels comfortable with you. This recipe caught my eye when I read the book. I'm one of those people who reads cookbooks like regular books, like I read every word, front to back, flag pages, all the things. Are you weird like that with me? I know I'm not the only one. When I flagged this one, it intrigued me because I haven't really seen this combination, and it's described as a topping for things like tostadas, and I love pickled vegetables on my tacos. I've actually done a canning recipe before with taco pickles that I can link for you, but that one is a radish and carrot recipe, which I love and use all the time, but it's like what I would find in a Mexican restaurant in Southern California. This one with the beans and poblanos was a whole new concept for me, and I just really wanted to try it. In the interest of full disclosure, it is one of those recipes that has to sit for 3 weeks, so I haven't actually tried it yet. It won't be ready for me until September 6th, so I will update my description box for this video right at the top of it after I've tried it to tell you if I like it or not. I planned myself tacos on those days. It's on the calendar, September 6th, so that I can try this because I have been waiting very impatiently to sample the goods. So as you saw, I roasted some poblano peppers. If you have not done that before, I just sliced off the tops. I cut them in half lengthwise. Poblanos have like a semi-flat shape to them, so I cut along lengthwise in the way that makes the widest, flattest shape when it's cut in half. That just makes it easier for the flame in the oven broiler to blister it all. I put them skin side up on a foil-lined baking sheet. There are 2 reasons for the foil-lined baking sheet. One is to keep the cookie sheet clean because I don't like dishes. The other is because the next step is to cover and steam them so that you can remove the skins. I used to put these in a bowl and cover it with plastic wrap and let it sit 10 or 15 minutes and then peel them. But this recipe actually says to just pull up the sides of the foil and let them steam in there. And I was like, why have I not thought of that? So I gave that a try and it worked perfectly well. So in the future, I will be making and peeling roasted peppers by just pulling up the sides of the foil, and I won't be getting a bowl dirty. While those were roasting, I got some corn into a pot. This was corn I shucked from a big bag I bought at a farm store. A raccoon ended up eating all my sweet corn this year, so I was glad I bought that big bag. I did talk about processing all that corn in my last Every Bit Counts video. I can link that one for you. The corn goes into a pot with a small amount of water it boils for 5 minutes. Then you drain it and cool it. I cooled it by running cold water over it, and then I let it finish draining, just sat it in a colander and did it that way. Then the corn, the peppers that I roasted and skinned and chopped, I think I chopped them into like half-inch-ish pieces. I was not exact. Corn, the peppers, and pintos go into a large bowl, and they get mixed up. This recipe calls for 3 cans of pinto beans. I had cooked pinto beans in my freezer, and I need to clean out my freezer, so I grabbed those bags to use instead of canned beans. and I thawed and used those. The point here is to use already cooked beans, not dry hard beans. You don't necessarily have to use canned beans. After I made the mixture, I had to go get pictures of my daughter who was going to a formal event, and it was hot and sticky outside. So I took a shower before starting on the pickling brine and finishing this recipe up. For the brine, you boil together vinegar, sugar, water, pickling salt, cumin, and garlic. I mentioned in one of my previous videos that I spent almost a whole day processing garlic, and I was letting the cloves sit in my fridge until the baby chickens went out of the garage so that I could freeze dry them to make garlic powder. Because my freeze dryer is in the garage and it's loud. I have done that now, but I actually ended up using a lot more of the fresh garlic than I thought I would while it was in the fridge, while I was waiting. The lesson here to me was that if I'm mid-recipe, I tend to grab the convenience garlic that's already peeled and chopped and ready to go. But if I have my own garlic already peeled, I'll go ahead and grab that. So next year, I'll keep more fresh and ready peeled cloves for myself so that I use more of my own and not the store-bought stuff. I'm also still trying to figure out a way to safely can the chopped garlic like you buy in the stores. Then, just like pickles, you pack the veggie mix into the jars and pour the brine over the top and put on the lids and bands. Process for 15 minutes, adjusting for altitude, and I'm slightly above 1,000 feet, so I processed for 20 minutes. This did have a note to loosely pack the jars. Some vegetables shrink a bit during canning, but corn and beans both actually expand a little bit. So you got to pack the jars a little bit loosely to allow room for that. Not crazy loosely, just a little bit. And then, like I said, I canned these for 20 minutes because of my altitude. And then I always let my canner sit with the lid off and the heat off for about 5 minutes before I pull my jars out, just to let things settle a bit. They get kind of bubbly and rocky in there, and I just want to let them calm down. And then voila, a new recipe to try. I'm so super excited to give this a taste. So if you are seeing this before September 7th, 2025, come back and check out the description box to see my final verdict. If you're watching this after that date, you can just scroll down and see. But thank you guys so much for joining me on one of my canning adventures today. I know there are a lot of things you could be doing with your time, and it means a lot that you would spend some of that precious resource here with me. I hope you stop by again for future videos. If you like videos about food preservation, growing your own food, and cooking from scratch, consider subscribing so you know when I post more. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up.